My name is Justin. Birthplace is Albany, Missouri, and I'm 35.
Kenny Welch Jr., 29 years old, born in Turlock, California.
Patrick Johnston, 48. I was born in Nampa, Idaho.
My name's John Wells. How old am I now? 45. And birthplace is San Diego.
My name is Scott Thompson. I was born here in Nampa, Idaho. And age?
You can lie, I'm sure everyone's gonna fact check it.
So I'm 47.
Chad Edgar, 27, born and raised in Vancouver, Washington.
Hi, my name is Lane. I'm 23 and I'm originally from Fairbanks, Alaska.
My name is Kenny Welch, 48 years old, born in, not Turlock, California. That's where my business was. I was born in Hayward, California.
Fabricator / wiring / assembly / whatever they need me to do.
Wiring is what it started as. I've kind of been trying to dabble in a little bit of everything, but we'll say wiring and technology.
I am a fabricator, assembler, bathroom cleaner, just about everything. I don't do billing. I don't bill anything.
Fabricator.
I am just kind of a general grunt.
Mainly metal fab, chassis building, anything to do with sheet metal.
My job here at KRS is the media director, so I'm in charge of all the video, all the photos, all the stuff that you guys see online.
My job here at KRS, I am the owner.
Professional fire put out.
That's it. Head cheese, the big kahuna, whatever you want to call me. The guy who gets yelled at, the guy who deals with everything. Babysitter, whatever you want to call me. That's me.
Just kind of growing up as a hobby, always working on cars and trucks. I just kind of dove in and tinkered around.
My grandpa.
My brother and father. My dad and brother always were making things, and just kind of seemed like the thing to do.
Just throughout the years, I mean, of working out by myself, doing my own projects and whatnot.
Trial and error.
Like the rest
I took auto body in high school.
Okay.
So that helped a little bit.
I started off real young, around cars, going to car shows every weekend, and I wanted to continue being around that, so I found a college in the middle of Kansas, so I got a 4-year bachelor's in automotive restoration.
I learned my skill set starting in high school with a photography teacher. From there, I just went to car shows, shooting around, and just practice over the years. Been doing it for about 7 years now, and finally just worked my way up to where we are now.
I was kind of born into this, so my skill set kind of comes from just day one. As I grew up, Volkswagens was kind of my claim to fame. That was where it started for me, but I knew someday I would get into hot rods. So I owe a lot to my dad. Took some auto body stuff in high school, what have you. Good friends, but pretty much I'm not afraid to cut something up. So I would just dive head first into it, rock and roll, and make it happen.
Magazines. Just as a kid looking at magazines, man. That easy.
Kind of had to be.
My older brother, Michael.
I would have to say probably my dad.
I got into cars. I would say probably a neighbor down the road had some friends that had 2 first-gen Camaros. And I remember just kind of, I would lay in I had an upper bunk, and I would look right out my window, and I'd just look at those Camaros when they'd bring them over. And I don't know, I think that just kind of got me going from there.
Probably my parents. We had a 69 Mach 1 that we went around to car shows every weekend during the summer, and just being around that, they probably are the ones that got me into it.
What got me into cars was my dad. When I was a kid, he had a 1969 Nova SS, 396 big block numbers matching. Didn't drive it very often. He was just always afraid of missing a gear or blowing the motor, and then the car would be worthless. I only got to riding it probably no more than 20 times through my childhood, but that car really planted the seed, and from there my dad just took me all sorts of racing events, car shows, and I just fell in love with anything with a motor.
My dad's been a hot rodder his whole life, so I've been around it. Even though he was in the computer industry, he's got his first car, which is a 32 3-window coupe. Still in our family, been in our family for 65, 70 years.
The 87 Nissan hardbody pickup truck, and pretty much as any kid with a Sawzall would do, I chopped it up into pieces, put air ride, and just made it cooler than it was.
It was a Scion XB. I did nothing besides just drive the heck out of it.
Oh man, this is awesome. My first car was a 71 Vega. My uncle found it for me out of town. I paid $50. My father paid $50 for it. The motor had caught on fire, so everything was melted. The plug wires, all the wiring, the carburetor was this blob of metal. And my dad's like, if you want to drive, I was 14, because if you want to drive, you have to rebuild it. So I found another carburetor, replaced all the wiring, went through everything. The hood had burnt all the paint off of it, and it was that ugly brownish yellow color, and I spray painted a Trans Am Firebird looking thing on the hood to cover the burnt paint, and it looked like a Vulture, so it was called the Vega Vulture.
My first car was a 68 SS Chevelle. Didn't really do much to it. It had a lot of rust in the rear quarters, and I was 16 and 17, I think, and then I got rid of it because it was too much of a project for me. Wish I still had it.
First car was a $300 car off of a used lot in Nampa. And we basically just kind of fixed it up a little bit, got it decent, ended up selling it so I could buy my first muscle car, which was a 69 Nova Super Sport.
First car I ever had or worked on was a 67 Mustang, and started with, fixing the body repair, and then new motor, new transmission. I still have it today.
My first car, not very cool, 2003 Honda Accord, which at the time, I was a high schooler, mind you. I slammed in on some cheap coilovers and some cheap wheels, and it looked good for one car show, and then after that car show, it got hit downtown, so I let it go, but I don't miss it.
First car was a 1960 VW Bug. Kind of a funny, quick story. I used to race BMX bikes, had a Skyway bike that got stolen, and my mom and dad's home insurance paid for that, and I went and bought this cherry Bug that we had to tow home backwards, my dad and I. Crazy deal. And then I kind of that was the Calibug scene, so it was down the ground, shaved the door handles. I painted it myself, pearl white and red. It was lacquer paints back then, so that was my first hot rod.
$180 something miles an hour on a motorcycle.
141.
In
Trailblazer SS.
In the quarter mile, it's been 149 miles an hour.
how about public roads?
About 120, 125.
Probably like 110.
Had a Shelby GT500 that I, between Cascade and Smiths Ferry, got up to about 145, 150.
Oh, I don't know. 140.
The fastest I've ever gone was about 150, 160 in a borrowed Evo. Had the chance to drive it, took it on the highway, and just put my foot to the floor and saw 150 and just slammed the brakes as hard as I could. I never gone that fast before, so.
Fastest I've ever been is just a tick right at 200 miles an hour, just touching the 6-second barrier. Front engine dragsters, altereds, funny cars. I've ran a bunch of different things. That's in the quarter mile. We did some sprint car racing for a little bit too, but drag racing is where it's at for me. But besides that, in the car, about $145, $150 down the highway. Not too long ago in a customer's Camaro, as a matter of fact. So.
Hot rods.
Video games, you know, obviously hang out with my kids, that kind of thing. Just kind of lay low, take it easy, sleep.
Play with the kids, play guitar, just do things with the family, and whenever I get a chance, go out in the garage and dink around on my car.
Mostly I spend my time on my dirt bike or with winter coming up on my timber sled.
I love camping, love being outside. Believe it or not, I love yard work, being outside with the dogs. So.
In my spare time, I'm in the mountains, hunting, fishing, hiking, just taking photos. I take my FJ overlanding all the time.
My spare time consists of work. When I'm not here, I'm here. So I got a great family, some great kids, grandkids. I try and spend some time with them, but I'm very passionate about what I do. So I'm here. I'm here 6.5 days a week, and I got no complaints about it.
You know, just being able to not come to work every day. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
Parts every day is a little bit different. There's no monotony whatsoever. Every day is a new challenge.
And, everything. It's to be able to create the artistic aspect of just here's a piece of metal turning into something. Here's a bunch of tubing turning into a frame. creating, I think, is the best part of it. And everyone around me, everyone here is cool.
Just probably the camaraderie of everybody. I mean, we all get along good, and just try to be the best you can at what you're doing. And
Flexibility. I learn something new every day. That's pretty cool here.
Favorite part about metal fab to me is every piece is different. Whatever you make, it's never the same as the last thing you made. So it's just every day you're doing something completely different, but it still has to do with metal.
My favorite part about my job is that these guys trust me enough to just let me do what I do, and that's exactly what I do here. I just create what I think needs to be created, and just share what needs to be shared, because these guys do a fantastic job, and my job is just to communicate that for the rest of the world.
Favorite part of my job is I get to come to work and build some really cool stuff every day. I get to work with some great people. But at the end of the day, in the beginning we used to chase trophies and this and that, but now with my customers, seeing a smile on their face and just seeing their excitement, building their dreams is what it's all about. So I love what I do. I mean, there's days where, don't get me wrong, it's a job, but I love what I do. We're blessed to make all a good living doing it and having some fun.